What's up, you guys? Steven here for Off the Shelf Movie Night to talk to you about physical media, about Blu-rays, and about 4Ks, and about how we like to buy and own and collect the things that we love, the movies and the TV shows and documentaries and so forth that we love. I just thought today would be a fun day to do my own personal boutique studio ranking. As collectors, we love talking about boutique studios because they're the sort of the lifeblood of our collecting. You know, the big studios still release a lot of stuff, and some of them do really great 4Ks and some nice releases, but they don't go to the trouble that they used to give us a incredible presentation overall. We'll get a nice, we'll get a good transfer, which is the most important thing. We'll get good video and good audio from a lot of major studios, but they don't dig in and give us extras and give us behind the scenes and give us cool packaging and stuff like that, making it special. I know it seems weird to sort of, when you're ranking stuff, lump packaging in there, but it's nothing new. People who collect books will have an entire library of leather-bound first editions, or people that collect albums will vinyl will buy the fold-out artwork, and now vinyl is coming in colors. So having a special version gives us an emotional connection to that film. That says we really love that film. To me, this is, from my perspective, it says I really love that particular movie. I love that studio. I love what they do. So I've gone the extra mile to have something very limited and cool. And it's also something I can enjoy while I'm watching the movie. I can enjoy the booklets and different things that come with it. So it's not weird. It's not weird. With that said, obviously my primary concern is the movie itself. Good transfers of of video. Great transfers of video is what I want, and really solid, good transfers of audio. So let's get into this. If you haven't subscribed already and you're a physical media collector, or you're just interested in getting into physical media collecting, please give me a subscribe and hit that notification bell. Then you'll get notified on all the videos I have coming. I have a lot coming. And if you like what you see here, hit that like button and share this out. That'll be really great. My cat is meowing in the background, so he's sort of participating in this. Do you hear that? He's sort of participating in this episode. Okay, I had to deal with that. The cat was literally sticking his nose under the door meowing. It was getting so loud. Anyway, where was I? Top 5. Like, sub, all that stuff. Top 5. My top 5 ranking for boutique distributors. Now, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that this is the definitive definition. This is my opinion. And as I said, video presentation is first. Video and audio presentation is first. Then extras. Then packaging. That is how I choose my ranking. So with that said, number 5. We're counting backwards, of course. Number 5 on the list is Vinegar Syndrome. So I've got a couple examples here for you. This is Blood Games. So Vinegar Syndrome does good transfers. Now, they might have a rough time of it. My phone is doing this thing here. They might have a rough time of it in the transfer department because they're often working with really bad source material, because these movies are less loved. Let's put it that way. Blood Games was a cold buy for me. I think I had heard Michael Keener or one of those guys on YouTube talking about that it was good, so I just thought, it was a good sale. Let's pick it up. So this is also a really good example of a solid, average premium release. Let's say that, average premium. It's a nicer release because they actually have the slipcover, and this is really the majority of Vinegar Syndrome's nice releases, is that they come with a slip. And they do beautiful slips. The artwork is always good. This one has a nice little spot UV with a matte finish on it. And then they give you a reversible art on the inside. They give you the original art, and then on the inside it'll be reversible. And they usually, there's more art there. So technically, there's three pieces of art for this one film, which is great. They usually do good extras, not always. Sometimes they're a little hit and miss on the extras. I would say that their scans and audio presentations are good. They're not like amazing, but they're not shit either. They're good presentations, especially for movies like this. On top of that, the reason they're number 5 on the list, and this is for me again, is I have been dipping my toe into Vinegar Syndrome, doing some cold buying. A lot of movies they put out I've never heard of, like this one. And what my experience has been is, of every 5 or 6 movies that I buy, I keep one of them, because the others are just not good. I mean, I like bad movies, but I don't believe in watching movies in an ironic way, necessarily. There are exceptions to that rule, The Room or whatever, but generally I don't like to watch movies that are bad just to laugh at them. The Room is an exception. There may be 1 or 2 others, but yeah, I can't have I don't own a copy of The Room, for example. That is an interactive event at a theater. That's it. So that's me. I don't watch movies ironically. I have to enjoy them in some way. And this is a bad movie, but it's just fun. It's a fun movie. It's campy. It's fun. It's just fun to watch. Now, Vinegar Syndrome also has begun to do some really nice super premium releases. And we'll talk about this one right here. This is the Beastmaster. This is not only stellar for them, it's stellar in general. This is an incredible release. They even patented this box, and I know that was a lot of, maybe a marketing thing, but it's got this magnetic clip here that keeps it shut, and the artwork on the front is gorgeous. Once again, they always do good artwork. Very seldom do I just hate the artwork they do. This has a little bit of spot UV on it. A Beastmaster here, let me just open it up. And they could have just rested on those laurels, but they didn't, because when you come into the box, you get this beautiful slipcover that's textured, and again, it's a mix of matte and gloss. It's hard to get the spot UV there to shine, but it's there. And then on the inside, we've got the 4K right there. We've got a couple of multiple discs in here, a ton of extras, great documentaries. They're a little repetitive. I think if you look back, I did an unboxing and a review of this if you want to hear the deep dive into it. But overall, this is just an incredible release. They've got a perfect bound book here that's as good as anybody else in the industry that's doing this. Great concept art and some good write-ups about it. Even the box itself on the inside. These kind of releases, if they were to become more standard for Vinegar Syndrome and they were to do good movies, I mean, I'm sorry, that's, again, my opinion, so don't blow me up, if you disagree and you love their movies. But if they were to do more good movies to this level, it probably would push them up in my ranking. But their latest one that's close to this is Six String Samurai. I've seen that movie. I fucking hate that movie. So I was happy to at least know in advance and not cold buy it, because these are expensive. And it's $40-something, I think. It might have come down a little bit, maybe $39. Number 4 in the list. I've got to move on with this. I'm going to be here all night. Number 4 in my list of boutique distributors is a newer one to me, but I've been digging into them and I just love them so far, is Second Sight. Now, Second Sight, if you're not buying a 4K, you're going to have an all-region player if you're in the United States. They are based in the UK. My first purchase from them was a 4K, mostly a 4K. I'm going to show you right now. But I did end up buying a international or an all-region player just so I could continue to buy Second Sight releases. And that is Dawn of the Dead. Now, a lot of this set is a reissue of the old Anchor Bay DVD. If you have that DVD set, a lot of it is the same here. There are new things. They did do new interviews that are really cool. They did a new documentary short that's really cool. But they also went to the trouble of going and acquiring all that original material and bringing it up to Blu-ray. Because you've got a couple of 4Ks in here, and then the rest of the set is Blu-rays and a CD. And this is one of the few releases that I've kept the J card. The only releases so far that I've actually kept J cards were international releases. That's weird. So inside you have this fold-out box. Now I don't love this fold-out box. I think these are, it just folds out and all the discs are inside there. I don't love that so much. But what else is in here is so cool. They've got multiples of these because we've got the entire soundtrack with the sound cues, and we've got the original Dawn of the Dead theatrical cut. You've got the extended cut. You've got the Dario Argento cut in here. This is definitive. You've got Document of the Dead, which is a feature documentary made about Dawn of the Dead and the director George Romero. A ton of other little featurettes on special effects and that kind of thing. And then Second Sight even did an interview with some of the bikers, the extras. So it's definitive. It's definitive. Inside there's a book here, very nice book, very hefty. Reminds me of a library book from when I was a kid. A book about the film, and there are pictures in here, but this is legit. Just it's called Dissecting the Dead. I couldn't remember. This is legit, just a deep dive into the movie. We also get a paperback book that's the movie retold in book form. So as I said earlier, though, a single release like this doesn't make you deserve that high of a spot in my ranking, because every distributor can have a stellar release and then do a bunch of garbage outside of that. But that is not what's happening with Second Sight. They are truly an impressive distributor. This is my first purchase. I bought 2 more things from them. The next thing I bought was The Nightingale. This is a beautiful box here. And inside we have art cards. Art cards they're kind of cool to look at and flip through when you're watching the movie, and I do it. I have done it. But unless the movie actually had lobby cards, I'm less interested. But they give you a nice book in here, a nice perfect bound book. Now they go glossy on it because, I don't know, I think glossy is a little cheaper, but there's good writing in here. It's good essays and pictures from the movie. And here's your Blu-ray. They go with black cases regardless of whether it's a Blu-ray or 4K. This particular one doesn't really have any disc art, but it's a beautiful release, a beautiful transfer, really nice selection of extras. And again, this is a UK release. There is a domestic release, and then I also bought Raw. Here's Raw. Beautiful. Again, it's kind of standard operating procedure for them, and that might be the biggest ding for them, is that once you get into their standard special editions, their standard nice releases like these, is they look a little bit samey, But you know what though? The thing about that is that can also be elegant because they look real cool on the shelf together. In fact, this one is really different compared to these. But yeah, when you get one of their premium boxes like this, you know what's going to be inside here. But they're not the only one that does that. It's fine with me. They give us good transfers. Their versions get more extras than what we get here on domestic releases, because both of these movies are available domestically here in the United States, and they are shittier releases. So number 3 on the list. This one's going to be a little bit controversial, but it is Shout Factory. I know there are those people out there that just love Shout Factory and they're hardcore collectors of Shout Factory, and that's great, because here's the thing about Shout Factory is they have great IPs. They work really hard to get some of those, directors that we really love. I mean, they have the best selection of John Carpenter films. I believe probably comparable, would be Anchor Bay back in the DVD days or something like that. But when you look at their releases, this is a good one right here. It's a very nice transfer on this one, by the way. My Bloody Valentine. This is a cool release. You get the theatrical version. You get the uncut, unrated version, which is slightly longer. And you get a decent selection of extras. And on the inside, of course, there was a reversible artwork, which I flipped. And they always do artwork on the discs. So the thing about Shout Factory, though, And I know some of you guys would say, but wait, what about the Jason set? What about the Friday the 13th set? It's beautiful and it's so in depth and extensive with all of its extras. And you would be 100% right. I would agree with you. This is one of the best collections that I have on my shelf, followed closely by this guy right here, which I know is being redone a lot in 4K. But I'm gonna hold on that and see if we get a box set, because buying those movies individually at $30 a pop, it's $150, and it's not even complete like this one. So I do have the first Halloween in 4K. Again, as I said, a single set doesn't push you higher in the list, but they do these pretty regularly. Once a year, maybe we'll get like a super set like that. But my thing about Shout Factory is, and Scream Factory, it's all this. I wrap it all into the same company. People go crazy for these slips, and they charge a premium for them. They charge nearly as much for this as I paid for this, and that is ridiculous to me. The value is not there a lot of times. I don't like their art most of the time. I don't like this cartoony thing that they constantly do with their cover art. I don't think it always properly represents the movie. I think they're focused more on the artists that they like and continuing a style of art rather than representing the movie in a fair way. Cartoony artwork doesn't always work. But that's what we get most of the time with Shout Factory. But yeah, it's just the dollar value. I don't find it to always be there. Their transfers are hit and miss. Some of them are stellar. Their versions of the Carpenter films so far have been better than the Studio Canal versions. I think the transfer is the same, but they actually took the time to bring us that Atmos mix. And I talked about the Atmos mix before. I think that some movies don't need an Atmos mix. But what I do appreciate with this is they give it to us. We can choose to have it or not. So, and they're okay. They're okay. You're working with stereo and mono original tracks. So again, I need to have the original theatrical experience there, and they give us that. And then you also have the Atmos mix to play with if you want to. But their extras are hit and miss. Sometimes they do a bang-up job with extras, and sometimes they don't. It's very, very sort of up and down. I've said this before. Shout Factory has, to me, an A, B, and a C team. And you are screwed. You are screwed if a movie you love is being handled by the C team at Shout Factory, because you're going to get a crap release, and it happens a lot. They're still number 3 on my boutique list. And, these 5 are not the only boutiques I collect for. There's a lot of other ones out there. There's Ronin Flicks and, 88 Films I'm starting to look into, and different ones. So they're still doing really well. All right, number 2 on my list. Number 2 on my top 5 boutique distributors is Criterion. Now, this is where the rubber hits the road here, because Criterion's releases used to be considered, top of the line. They're super elegant. They were the only company for many years that gave you edge-to-edge artwork. The back, they're highly designed. The back always gives you great descriptions of what's on the film, what's on the set, along with the synopsis. You get all the extras and that kind of thing. Now these feel a little old school compared to a lot of the boutique distributors out there. But the one thing that is worth noting, as I said at the beginning of this, is the presentation of the film is everything. And more often than not, I can't think of one that I hate right now. There probably is one, because no one's perfect. But more often than not, Criterion gives you incredible Blu-ray presentations. And DVD too. They're for DVD, they're good. They give you incredible Blu-ray presentations. They do better. There have been a few times lately, such as Do the Right Thing, for example, that there's a Criterion scan and there's a 4K. And they're so freaking close. The quality is so close. And it's because Criterion knows what they're doing, and they take time and put a lot of love into their transfers. They still may be the best in the industry as far as transfers. And now we're finally, because my biggest argument with them was 4K, now we're finally getting 4K from them. As I record this, Uncut Gems is about to come out, and Citizen Kane, and the Red Shoes toward the end of the year. So they're starting to release some of their stuff. So they're sometimes lesser collected in our community, because our community, one thing we all share is our love of horror. And they do horror, but they tend to do more art house types of films. I encourage you to take a closer look at Criterion, though. Their movies are amazing. What I have here is Ghost Dog, and then Gimme Shelter is a great documentary about the Rolling Stones, or specifically about one of their shows. I highly encourage you to give them a go. And my number one choice, I don't think anyone is going to be shocked, is Arrow Video. Arrow Video comes very close. They come very close to Criterion in quality of their scans. Now they don't do everything. They have partnerships. Some of their 4Ks have been coming from Studio Canal, which is fine. Studio Canal is doing a good job with their scans. And you usually can get Arrow Video releases in 3 flavors. This is their standard release, very similar to what you would expect from Criterion. All right, and even this one has some little booklets in it. Sho Kasugi, Pray for Death action film. So that's their standard release. Chocked full of extras, very solid transfer. Not their best transfer. This is a lesser movie. They spent a little less time on it, I will say, but overall, it's still a very, very good transfer for this. I've seen this in a couple of other forms, and this is the best. And then you step up to their slipcover releases. Their slips are pretty gorgeous. They have a nice sort of velvety texture to them. Again, we get the front and back. This is Alice, Sweet Alice. I don't know why we have to have this. I think this is some manufacturing thing. I hate that hole there. And then on the inside, we have reversible artwork always. And you get the discs, or disc in this case. And this one also has a poster. It doesn't have a booklet, but it has a poster, I think. Anyway, the one thing that's consistent throughout is, regardless of what version of their films you get, and this is also the same with the others, is the extras are across the board. Whether you get the standard, you get the step up, or you go with one of their premium releases. Most recently, I picked up Cat of Nine Tails right there. And this set right here really defines sort of the Arrow Video look. They give you these really nice, solid, matte boxes. They give you a beautiful transfer. This one has a beautiful transfer. They do the perfect bound book. Arrow Video easily surpassed Criterion and Shout Factory on their physical presentations. The books are very nice. Criterion will give you sometimes a little booklet, but it's usually a gloss book and it's super thin, or they give you a poster that folds out that you're supposed to be able to read somehow, and I hate those. When you get a book from Arrow Video, like a serious one, it's like this. Now, some of their standard releases still have a little booklet in there. It's very reminiscent of what Criterion does with a stapled book with glossy paper. And then they give you a poster, which I just haven't started hanging up my posters for Arrow releases. I generally just keep them in here, in their boxes. And this is a 4K. When they don't do 4K, they do the clear box. I wish they would stay with the clear box. I don't need to be reminded constantly this is a 4K by the black box. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful releases. And just when you could have the argument that Arrow is like Second Sight and everything feels the same, then they'll come out with something like this, which is Demons, and give you a different kind of box altogether. It's still a matte finish because that's the style of art they like, but this one's a split box. Now, what I appreciate is their experimentation with packaging. This one doesn't always work for me because if you grab it and don't grab it in the middle and pull it off, you'll just pull half the box off the shelf, which is annoying. They put a poster in here. We have a beautiful book. This is another one of those library type books, a really nice hardback book with a lot of great writing in it. Try to see if I can see if there's just a piece of art that you can see. This one they went with a digipack for the movies, and they didn't give us Blu-rays, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with it. Save me a little bit of money and don't give me the Blu-rays. I'm buying 4Ks. There's Demons 1 and 2. And they also put one of the tickets. You need to know the movie to know what that's about. You should be watching it. It's a classic. So that is my rundown, my ranking of boutique distributors. What is yours? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Did I really blatantly miss one that I should have covered? Now, like I said, there's some other ones. There's new ones that I'm sort of dabbling with that I just haven't dabbled enough with to rank them yet. Powerhouse is another one I bought, the Irreversible set, and it's beautiful. But it's all I have from them right now. So they might push their way into the top 5 as I get to know them better. But let me know what your ranking is, and what are your picks, and what did I miss? Let's talk about boutique distributors in the comments below. Until next we meet, pull something cool off the shelf, share it with your friends and family, and remind them why physical media is the best way to watch films and TV. I'll see you guys on the next one.